Are we in? Are we
It's, ne- it's,
live?
it's never as smooth as when Asaf does it, but that's
Okay.
okay.
Hello, everyone. Asaf, wherever you are in the
Hey,
universe.
Asaf.
Hello. Hello, Chris. Great to be back again.
Hey, yes.
Hello, all our friends who are joining us from around the world. This is The Great Transition, a show where we talk specifically about what's going on in our world, even though the wisdom of Kabbalah doesn't speak about this world at all.
Hmm.
But nevertheless, we're a show that talks about what's going on in our world. As students of Kabbalah, studying with our teacher, Rav Lightman, we study the structure, the function of all of existence. And from that study, from studying that upper structure, one begins to clearly understand where we are in the process. Chris, you okay? I can't tell what's going on over there. You having a technical issue?
I'm just fixing some audio stuff. Keep going.
Okay. Okay. Um, so by studying this upper wisdom, we begin to clearly understand where we are in that system and how we can intervene in the system. In general, we are a result, an effect, not a cause, right? We had parents who came before us. We didn't pick them, which ones we wanted. We came from a country, right? For example, and we see this, that if you're from China, you have certain distinguishable facial features different from
Yes.
someone who's from Sweden. Okay, we didn't choose. So we didn't choose our parents. We didn't choose which part of the world, or if you're from Ghana, your face typically will look different than someone who's from Alaska, right? So we didn't pick the parents. We didn't pick where we were born. We didn't pick how they educated, what songs they played for us, what school they sent us to. So in general, we can't exert influence. And then, so before that, if you keep following that back, as we call our route, go back as far as you can in that chain, we can't exert influence on our route. We can do what we can do down here. So we exist generally as a result of that upper root. But Kabbalists do some special work in order to become similar to the original root. And by this, we change our inner sensation of what's flowing to us. And so instead of down here feeling constant daily troubles, constant blows from nature, constant difficulties, we start to experience peace, perfection, some kind of knowledge of what's happening. So by coming in contact with and engaging in this wisdom, a person can start ruling over his own destiny. So even though we're on a show where we talk about what's going on in this world from week to week, actually, the wisdom of Kabbalah itself doesn't deal with events in this world at all. It researches the upper world, where all the powers come from that descend into our world, that instigate all the things that happen down here. So let's talk about now on our show, where we're going to now talk about this world. Let's talk about the approach of this world that bends us, imprisons us, coerces us, criticizes us, makes us feel that if we change our car from gas to electric, so we're going to save the world and everyone will be happy and safe. Or if I cut off my sexual organs and change my body somehow, that I'm going to somehow be happy and safe. If we recycle, if we quote unquote save don't throw our plastic bottles into the landfill. We instead send them to the recycling place, that somehow everything is gonna work out better. The world is
Sorry.
constantly offering to us these external fixes for a deep internal issue, which comes to us for another reason.
Well, I mean, you said there's a deep issue. It's I guess it's kind of hard to see. My hands are freezing. I can't warm them up. I have this window open. There's a deep issue, and you say it's internal, but it's like the example that you gave earlier about no one, no one thinks that I didn't choose to be here in this country or be this nationality. No one really thinks about that they didn't choose to be there, to have this life. It's kind of something that just it's like it's such an important question. It's like something that's basically will change your outlook completely on life if you somehow remember in the fact that I didn't choose to be born. I didn't choose to be in this, in this country. I didn't choose to have these parents. I didn't choose to go to this school. Like, it all starts from that very first question. Did I even choose to be born? You didn't choose to be born. This is what you got. And if you want to go to where that question actually has some kind of grounds, where it actually means something, where there's some meat on that question for you to find an answer to, you kind of have to go, so why was I born? You kind of have to go to that very beginning question, because that question is the answer is so elusive. It's impossible to find a question. People just find an answer. People just kind of ignore it.
I find it fascinating
Yeah.
that um, people fight so hard to be alive. Like, you see homeless people living out on the street. They're
Yeah.
freezing in the middle of the winter in New York, like sleeping on the street,
Yeah.
eating out of a garbage can. It's like, why
Why
are
live?
they?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not just jump off a bridge? Like, what
Yeah.
is this? The answer, Bala Salam, we studied it last night in the Bala Salam's Last Generation. We are, reality is a desire to receive pleasure. Like, we can't help it. We're just constantly striving to have that next fulfillment somehow, even fulfillment from sleep, right? Like, please just, your life can be going terrible, but finally just
Mm,
you lay down, just like let me sleep.
mm.
Like the pleasure, just
I
like
I
let
just look at
me.
my cat sometimes and I'm like, oh God, I hate you. Just anywhere, anytime. You look so cozy and you look like you have such a great life, just sleeping and eating and enjoying, and it's awesome. And here I am. My heart is like always under stress, cortisol just running through my body all the time. Some kind of something's wrong, right? It's really easy to envy a creature like that on one hand. But what did you just say earlier? You said, oh crap, what was the first thing you just said when you just came back? When you said, oh, why do people live? It's interesting. It's like we're being kept in this kind of balance where it's like, yeah, I would like to die, right? But something won't let me do it. Same thing with nukes, right? Everyone's got nukes, but they just won't. It's like you could say nature won't let us use them, right? So we're kind of like in this limbo where it's like, okay, we're basically have to live this life under pressure, under stress, where we're mostly suffering, and we can't escape it really. But as a as a as kind of like a way of mitigating that pain, we come up with all kinds of tactics to still squeeze a little bit of pleasure out of this life. And that's actually essentially what our lives end up being. Just each day you wake up, you squeeze a little bit, like you're
Hmm.
squeezing it into your mouth, like the little, and you get that one drop out of the rag, right? That drops down. You're like, yes, right. It was the rag. So
And it's it's
I'm sitting on like
impossible.
three pillows.
What?
What? No, I just keep moving because my butt is like falling off one pillow and getting onto another. It's not you.
Uh,
But you know what I'm saying?
it's
It's like that becomes your life. That you're just wanting that one drop of pleasure for that one moment or for that one day, however long it can last you. But that becomes your life, right?
it's also it's impossible for us to be like that cat. It's impossible for us to settle for little. Like, we're this emptiness inside of us keeps growing, and there's a great reason for it. We're being pushed. We're being pushed towards some kind of. Well, let's not get there yet, but
Okay, yeah. Let's not get there yet. Okay. Let's
Yeah.
not. But let's feel first of all the push, because that's interesting. So we're pushed into finding all kinds of tactics, right, to make our lives more pleasurable. So instead of going after some pleasure that would probably fulfill us eternally, let's say that that's actually being kept from us. We can't actually attain it because we don't know where it is. But instead of going after, this something that would really just fix all of our problems, we'd be able to wake up and feel good because we're doing something meaningful. Why? Because we have the meaning in life and we're dedicated to it. That's the role. It's like, there's a lot of research about people, masses of people, and people in general. The human nature, they like being told what to do. They like being led. They want there to be a leader that they can get behind, right? Not everyone's a leader, or there's most people are followers, so it's in their nature to just get behind a leader, tell me what to do, and I'm going to do it. You can, when there was kings, when there was what you can even say dictators. There's this tendency to just serve, and that fulfilled me. I'm serving the king, I'm serving the country, and now look at where we are. Look at where we are today. It's this kind of time where it's like, no, there's no real framework to follow. Everyone's kind of can do whatever they want. You've got all the American dream, right? It's kind of spread all over the world. You can buy whatever you want now. You've got infinite possibility of pleasures that you have here on earth to indulge in, and live your life from one pleasure
And
to
all
the
those
next.
things that were forbidden at one
Or
point are not
forbidden,
forbidden
yeah,
anymore. They're
even more
mainstream now.
pleasurable after. Uh-huh. Right. So you've got all of that, and actually, at the end of the day, what do you have? You've got nothing. You've got nothing. There's really nothing in your hand. Even when you die, you're basically just regretting. I mean, I just looked at my grandpa, not too long ago. He was, devoted to his, religion, and I'm not saying everybody is like this, but he tried to be a really good grandpa, tried to be a really good, husband, and he's still like on his deathbed, basically just kind of like what do I have, right now? So
Oh,
that's
that's
kind of where we
sobering.
are. Yeah, sobering, sobering, exactly.
So
And
what will
yeah,
it carry
hmm?
on?
I think I
I
kind of
thought you were saying.
squeezed that. I kind of
Okay.
squeezed it.
So
Yeah.
so what does it um it points to the search for something bigger. It points to a search for something above all of the imperfection and pain that we have here. Because we can't, grandpa, he says, I'm going to take care of my family. And he works for 70 years,
Yep.
60 years, taking care of his family. And he goes to church every week. And
Yep.
he wants he's good to his wife and raises the kids right. And then, it's enough to get you through day to day. But this thing, it's not enough. It doesn't let us settle down inside. We still feel empty. Where is nature pushing us? What is this eternal thing above all the pain, above all the imperfections? How
Well,
can we
Eternals. No, keep going. You're right.
how I'm saying eternal. I mean, this is what the wisdom of Kabbalah is talking about. We're talking about pleasure. We're talking about bliss. We're talking about eternal bliss. We're talking about not um thing is, Chris, that when we start to relate to our soul, so the soul moves from body to body. It's not bound by one body and one incarnation. We can start to perceive something eternal, but this what hopefully we can talk about today is this fixation on trying to modify things in this world in order to reach a good outcome.
Right.
That's what I'm hoping we can zoom in on. And
Yep.
there's a lot of nuance and a lot of discernment to make, which always confuses people when they start talking about the wisdom of Kabbalah, because
Mm-hmm.
um, it's not really clear what the Kabbalists mean when they say necessity is neither praised nor condemned. It's not really clear until a person puts this structure inside of themselves of what's inanimate, still vegetative, animate, and the human degree, and where is the actual choice, and which part of me is just following out instinctive
Yep.
programming,
Yep.
right? But the wisdom of Kabbalah doesn't talk to us about you have to have a certain diet, or you need to live, in a monastery or on a mountaintop, or excuse me for saying, but doing all of these special, spiritual techniques and things like that abound now, or different methods. We're not talking about any of that. Um, I have this example I want to show you. It's kind of like a little bit non sequitur, but
Okay.
I want you to see. I want you to see this.
Let
For
me put
all
you
of
up on
the
big screen.
talk of saving the environment that we have, like
I have
here
something
in the
too.
US,
I have something too. I'm excited to show you.
okay?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
look at
Show me.
this. This is a grave. This is a tire graveyard in Kuwait. They say they have 42 million tires here. 42 million tires, and I guess it catches on fire from time to time.
Wait,
Okay.
because first of all, Kuwait is like, I mean, it gets hot over there. Probably one of the hottest places on earth. I remember it got to maybe you remember what it's last summer we were talking about how hot it was. It probably just catches fire. You look at all that black smoke. You know what that's similar to? That's similar to the Ohio, just that nasty black, that train wreck, remember?
Yeah.
That nasty
Yeah.
black
This is.
toxic smoke.
I mean,
It's not good,
imagine
basically. That's what you're trying to say, right?
42 million tires. So when you it's mind-boggling. So when a person let me tell you a funny story quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went skiing, and I was on the chair snowboarding. I was on the chairlift, and I got to the top of the chair, and I had an empty water bottle, and there was a trash can and a recycling can.
Mm.
And it was a beautiful mountain. I mean, the view was incredible. It was
Yeah.
Wyoming, or I think it was Wyoming.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
And
Pure. It's pure, there,
it
right?
was exactly exquisite. So there's a trash can and a recycling bin. I finished my water bottle, and I go to put it into the recycling bin, but it's full. It's like full to the top. So
Oh.
I put it into the trash bin.
Oh.
The guy
Sounds
behind me
reasonable.
goes, "You're not going to actually do that, are you?" I turned around. I said, what do you mean?" He goes, "You need to recycle that." And I didn't. I wish, you always wish like I would have said it, could have said. And I
Oh,
was like,
man.
I was
Yes,
thinking to
many
myself, I'm
sleepless
like,
nights with those I
oh.
wish I could have said.
But think about it. This was a pristine mountain that somebody knocked down trees all over this mountain. They put up these chairlifts, which are burning fuel all day long,
Yeah, yeah.
right? They destroyed this like perfectly pristine place, and he's concerned that I'm, and yes, of course, we want to recycle bottle if we can, but the point is that he was zoomed in on one little plastic bottle going into this instead of realizing he's on a mountain that used to be covered in wildlife and trees, and was clear cut so that he can enjoy his skiing vacation. They put in a chairlift which is running on coal or whatever natural gas to propel
You
it,
can't
8 hours a
you
day or
can't
10
provide
hours
you
a day.
can't provide that context. A person
So,
lives better without the context.
so, but we feel better about ourselves if we can put the bottle like in the recycling container. And the point is not about the futility of recycling. I think we once did a show about
We
how
did.
most of the recycling doesn't even get recycled anyway, but that's not the
We did.
point.
Right.
And the point isn't that we shouldn't recycle or anything like that. The point is, let's go back to our root. Let's understand what process we're in. Let's understand the futility of trying to correct anything here
Uh-huh.
by putting a bottle into this container instead of that container, or driving this car instead of that car, or having some committee over here do something like that. It's all of these external actions And of course, this is what we're saying, how it's so much nuance and so difficult to explain these things at the beginning of the wisdom.
Yeah.
But where is the real solution? How can we reach some kind of lasting fulfillment? Where is the happiness?
Okay, well,
Where
listen.
is
First
it
of
in all
all,
this?
it's not. First of all, it's there, but it's like behind. You know, it's behind it in the fact that realizing the futility of it is actually kind of the key to the door, right? I mean, you don't really get the key to the door without that understanding. Here, I wonder if I can show this too. Can I? How can I do this? If I go like the okay. Dang it! I should have thought about how I was going to do this before. All right, let me see if this will work. If not, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna send it to you instead of wasting everybody's time. WhatsApp. Get your WhatsApp and
Okay,
then
send it in WhatsApp. Sure.
and then open it and then open this 1 second. It's just a this is just a picture that I took last night actually before the show. A little draggy drag. Oh. Okay, I'm just gonna copy it because it doesn't want to get dragged. All right. So this was just we got some hamburgers or whatever the other day, and I figured this is something that you would point out. So it had a couple. There was a couple of these. These are just like little wipers, right? That you get to like clean your hands. And so it says. So I took a picture of it. It said that one planet used wisely. All right, guys, we're gonna give you this little moist towelette, but I want you to think twice before you remember about that 40 million pile of tires burning in the background. So those tires are going to burn, but I really want you to think hard about whether or not you want to use this moist towelette. Thought that was just like right up your alley, just
Like
so
the straw.
so it's just like the straw. So that's why it's good before we start talking
But doesn't
about
it
like a
calm you down,
solution.
Chris? Doesn't it calm you down when you're like,
Yeah,
you know
it does
what?
a little bit.
I'm
It
gonna
does a little
save
bit.
this moist towelette. I don't actually need this right now. I'm gonna wash my hands in the sink. I'm gonna
Listen.
save this moist towelette for when I really need it.
They're doing their job. They're doing it. They feel responsibility, and they are acting on their responsibility. Let's say, hey guys, if we're going to provide these for people, they could really do it from the good of their heart. If we're going to provide these products to people, you know, the cleaning products, right? If we're going to give this to people to use, we should be responsible about it. So yeah, I'm sure they feel responsibility, and because they feel the responsibility, I'm sure they feel like they need to say something. But the thing is, the responsibility is just it's not the right kind of responsibility. So it's good that you feel it and you're probably acting in the right way. The problem is the responsibility is not to like save the planet, because we haven't actually figured out what's wrong with us yet. So we can't just go saving planets because we don't even really know what the problem is. So let's get down to let's get down to the problem, right? Before we suggest anything, because I still have something to show you too. I'm just going to send you this link too, right on over to WhatsApp instead of dealing with it on my end.
Okay.
Open that up and then go down to the bottom. So this is just like a little bit of to the girl in the orange, and don't play it yet. Just kind of like sit it there. So this is something different. This is something new that's come out, but it's just another angle of the same thing that we're talking about, and it's just because this is kind of like new. It's actually pretty incredible. It's this new AI filter that TikTok has.
Okay, hold on. I don't see it. I don't see a link. I see an article.
Yeah. Sorry, it's article, and then go to the bottom, and you'll see like a little an embedded video from TikTok. And she's like wearing orange or something.
No, I don't have that. I don't see the embedded video. Hold on.
Okay, maybe I can.
Did you send it to the group also?
I just sent it to you. Let's see if it even got sent.
No, I got the link, but I don't see that.
You don't see it at the like. You know, like at
Let
at
me
the
open
bottom
another
of the article.
browser.
You don't see any embedded anythings when you open that? Actually, there's a few.
No.
All right, maybe I could do this. Let's see. If we go to that, and then, oh, but see, it wants to do my whole screen, so it's like not looking great. All right, that's how we're gonna have to do it. Okay, so like, instead of seeing me, you see this. So here
Yeah,
is let's just do it like pen. So this is a TikTok filter, and so basically it changes. Oh dang it! So basically, oh, you can't pause it. So basically, it's not like this overlay where before we would see these overlays, you know, where you can like put your hand in front of your face like this while you're using an overlay, and you could see the lips on your hand because it's just an overlay, right? You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Although I can't see
Okay.
you, but I know what you're talking about.
Ah, shit. You can't see me. That's right. So
Can you
it's
make
an
it full
overlay.
screen? There's a full screen button there.
Yeah. Let's do it. I hope it doesn't miss anything. So all of this, I'm gonna forget what my point was in a second. Oh, what happened? Oh, here it comes. TikTok.
Okay,
Yeah.
just play it.
All right, here we go. Sorry, I'm on VPN, so it's slow. So let me just give the intro. So
Okay.
yeah, so you can see that. Do you have audio? Okay, anyways,
No.
so she's basic. Look how real that is. It looks like you're having someone's recording themselves. You know, I don't know. They use makeup, right? But that's what she actually looks like. She just turned the filter off. So you've
Wow.
got one which is like, you know, okay, you know, that looks like a normal, you know, good looking woman wearing makeup, right? And then you go to this and it's like, oh, that's more like realistic, right? Now listen,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying she's ugly. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm talking about what's happening right now is kind of like the internet is doesn't really know how to react to this because they're saying, look, are we giving
So what you're talking about? There's a new filter on TikTok.
yeah, new filter on TikTok. And so that's what the filter, it's called glamour or something, right? And it really, you can put your hand in front of your face. And before, if it was an overlay, it would just like put the lips like right here on your hand. But here,
Yeah.
it's just changing your face completely. So to get it, you can get into all the details of it, right? We can kind of imagine where this is going. Of course, it's setting unrealistic standards and all these things that we've heard before. But I thought when I had the show, I was thinking like, okay, we like, you know, in Israel, there's Purim, and everywhere else, maybe there's Halloween, right? At least in the United States, I don't know everywhere else, but and you know, all kinds of every culture has some kind of tradition or some kind of holiday where they're like dressing up, right? There's costumes. I'm dressing up and I'm putting on a costume. I'm putting on a mask for the fun of it. I'm changing my appearance for the fun of it. This has like a different idea to it. There's like I want this feels like I'm not just putting on an AI filter to like show people, oh yeah, this is cool. Look how I look with you know, like big funny glasses or whatever. This is like I really want people to think that I look this way. That's kind of like the feeling that you get from it when you see something like this because it's so realistic that it's almost impossible to tell that someone's got a filter on. And people are worried that this can like really mess with the psychology, especially of women, but it also works for men. I mean, you've got men who are, I'm sure, think about catfishing. That's gonna so all this, right? All this, it doesn't matter. The idea is look at to the extent that we want to change something right on the outside because we're unhappy about you know what we've got. I don't like where I was born. I don't like my nationality. I don't like my parents. And now you can say I don't like my appearance, so I'm going to change that too, right? So a person's always wanted to arrange their world just to, like I said, squeeze the little drop of pleasure. And here this is rough because you've got the whole society which is like pressuring a person to use these filters, and the more that one person uses it, it spreads.
You're going to end up stuck in your house because when you start presenting yourself as looking like this, for example, right? I put a filter on and all of a sudden I'm the perfection of beauty. So, and that's what I show people who I am.
And that's what I expect of myself too, right?
Forget about that part, but just what everyone I mean, that's another part, but that's what everyone thinks that I look like. So I can't actually go out IRL.
Yeah,
I
I can see
can't
that
really
happening.
like
Yeah.
be out. I can't. Um, yeah, I mean, people will be trapped in their homes because the world thinks that they look a certain way, and they can't then go out and actually meet people who they've been chatting online with for 6 months as the idealized perfection of beauty, and be something
Right.
less than that,
That's
right?
dangerous. That's dangerous. I mean, but look at the trend. The trend is, I'm trying to make a change to compensate for something, and it ends up just like shooting. I ends up just shooting myself in the foot in like another place or the same place. That's basically all we're doing. Solar, um, and battery, like electric power. You always use this example, right? Sounds good, feels okay, and then you look at it a little bit more, and you're actually shooting yourself in the foot. There's a bunch of different examples like that. That's all of this to say. This show today is kind of just to have us look at the situation. The situation is us trying, right, to just make all these kinds of changes, and we're expecting, right? We're expecting a good result. The question is now, should we stop expecting a good result? Are we done expecting the good results and now we're just doing it because we feel like we don't have anything else? That's kind of, I don't know if I'm asking you, but that's kind of where I feel like the
Okay.
world
Okay,
is.
so let's get into some nuance then, because
Yeah.
and some of those beginner kind of mistakes in the wisdom of Kabbalah, because uh, I can open up the greatest spiritual book of all times, but at some point I'm going to get hungry in any deed. So then I go to the kitchen. But what about spirituality? Oh yeah, but I need to eat. Yeah, but what about spirit? I thought you were talking about eternity. I thought you were talking about eternal bliss. Why you have to deal
Right.
with? I thought you said we're not doing anything in the physical world. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, but I want to go outside and stretch. I want to exercise so I just feel better in my body. Yeah, but I thought you were talking about eternality. What do you care about your body?
Okay,
So
good point. Yeah.
yeah, so it takes a while for a person to kind of stabilize all this, and also like I'm living in a world, in a capitalistic society, for example, or a quote unquote democracy. Not no, I'm just kidding. Uh, where we want
Different
things,
conversation.
and what are we supposed to
Right.
do about those? When we discover the spiritual reality, all these other things start to work themselves out on their own naturally. We're not paying attention. We think that if I'm going to modify my flesh, then then I'm going to reach some kind. You know what, Chris? If it's just on the level of animal happiness, like for example, if I go into work in sweatpants, I used to have dreadlocks and a beard,
What?
like a beard, yeah, and long
What? And
dreadlocks.
and you haven't shown me a picture of this? You have a
Yeah,
picture.
this is when I was like 19 years old.
I've seen
Um,
Asaf. I have not seen you, so you need
Asaf also had
to complete
dreadlocks.
it.
You
I don't
probably
know
have
if he had
better ones because
dreadlocks.
his
It
hair's
looked
more
like dirty. It was kind of a picture from far away, but he looked
look
like a
dirty.
he looked like a
Okay,
monkey. He looked like a caveman.
like a monkey. So um, people look at you a certain way, and I remember when I cut my dreadlocks and my long beard, and I don't know what day of the week it was, but say it was a Tuesday,
It's a weird
and
day to do
then
that.
going, I don't remember, say it was okay, Wednesday, Thursday,
No,
whatever
I'm
day
just
it was. That's a
whatever.
weird day to cut your dreadlocks off. But say you cut my dreadlocks off on Tuesday,
Yeah,
and I was living in a van. I was having the
down by
time of
the
my
river.
life. I was very naive, didn't know much about life, but this is before cell phones even. We had paper maps. That's how we would like find out the next place to go. We just like buy
Right,
paper maps at gas stations.
right.
But but the next day going outside and just wherever I went, the market or
You were
whatever,
thinking about. You knew people were looking at you different.
I felt
Ah,
so different.
yeah.
Everybody, not that they like knew who I was and saw me before, but
But
just
you
everyone had
felt.
a different feeling about looking at me than before.
You felt that they had a different feeling.
I definitely did.
Yeah,
And maybe they did.
and maybe,
Um,
but they probably did too. But at least some of them.
so the point is that if you're going into an office, for example, going in sweatpants and shorts and whatever,
Yeah,
you're not gonna have a feeling of professionality. People aren't gonna
yeah.
treat you in that feeling. So if you're going into that kind of workplace,
Yeah.
so dress in a way, put on garments in a way that the world will see you and relate to you in the way that you want to be related to in that environment. This is not, we're not talking about spirituality here. This is just this world. You're just being a creature in this world.
Wait,
What we're
are you
talking,
connecting? I'm
I
just a
want to
little
make
bit
that. I want to
confused.
find the difference between what we modify in this world and what we don't. And for example, if
Okay.
someone wants a breast reduction or a breast enlargement or something like that, it's not mutually exclusive. You can still deal with things in this world and also deal with
I see the
reality and the
nuance you're
purpose of
talking
it.
about. Finally, I think I see it. Can I give you an example, and maybe I can understand if
Please.
that's where we are?
Yeah.
Like you're saying, oh, I guess it's kind of similar, but like someone, let's say someone has like some kind of deformed something. They were in the war and they got their nose blown off, right? And then they're going in for a prosthetic nose. They
Yeah.
don't need that prosthetic nose to. Let's say it's only aesthetic because that's just the easiest to grasp. A person doesn't need a prosthetic nose to function, to breathe, right? They're just getting it basically because of other people around them, right? Society. They don't want to feel that extra
Well, this is
pressure.
a hard example. I'm like living into that example. It hurts. But
Well, but you talked about nuance, so I'm trying to understand because there is a line,
what,
right? We're talking about a line.
forget it, whether it's for myself, whether I need to feel because of whoever I am, I need to feel, but I can't feel good about myself looking in the mirror without a nose. I need a nose even for
Yeah, but
myself. But
you're only comparing it. You're only thinking about that because of how you
but Chris,
think. So
be
like the
realistic. You're not
people
going to
are
be able to
looking
look
at
at
you.
yourself. Yeah, well, it's
If
hard to look in the mirror without a
I could
nose.
look at myself if I was in the jungle and there was no one else around and I was never going to meet anyone again. Like that, I would have no problem with that. You would. You're in the jungle on an island by
No,
yourself. You're going to care about your
I guess
nose.
not. But I guess not. But the point is that we can't. We do not need to settle for little. It's impossible to settle for little. Not only that, all of this reality was created for us to enjoy. Yeah, yeah. Everything was created for us to enjoy, to use it correctly and enjoy. We're not a method. The wisdom of Kabbalah is not a method where I'm happy with little and that's all I need. And no, we're talking about bliss, eternal bliss. But what with a defined line
But
we
that sounds like
need
a
to
okay.
understand.
Keep
Okay,
going. Sorry.
the line that we have to zoom in on, try and be clear about here is um, where is, no matter what we try and do in this world, we're not, if we don't, if we're not aimed at the bigger spiritual reality, it's just, uh, it's futility.
So another way of saying that is like, listen, we're trying all kinds of different ways. Maybe this, maybe that. Billions, trillions, infinite combinations of things that we can change. From now until who knows when. Let's say now, and then there's just an infinite timeline. Humanity's just going to try that and this and this. Not humanity as a whole, but all the small little goings ons as well. The smallest, cross section you could take of whatever exists in reality. That's also going to go through a change, and it's also going to go through a change, and it's also going to go through a change. There's infinite changes that can happen. That's what I'm trying to say. So, are we just going to exhaust that infinite list and then
Well, so that's what we're
we'll
trying to
arrive at
speed up.
something, or are we going to eventually just like ask for the actual blueprint? You know what I'm saying? That's the point.
Yeah, that's the point there. We have the opportunity now to speed up this process. That's that's the whole key here. You like to eat, you love smoking cigars and flying your helicopter. Cool.
Mhm.
You're not happy with a 100-foot boat, you want a 200-foot boat. Fine. But
But be
you're going to
realistic.
die. You're going
Yeah.
to die and you're going to come back and you're going to want a 400-foot boat. Or you're going to come die and you're going to come back as someone else and you're going to want something else.
So
And you're
you're
just
saying that
going
a
to keep,
person can just say, "Okay, enough." That's what you're suggesting. Never
No,
mind
first of all,
that. Never mind the 400-foot boat.
we can't say enough. First of all, because we're
No,
desired
no,
to
no.
receive.
Sorry.
This is
Enough
what
with the
creation is.
trajectory. Enough with the trajectory. I get where it's going. Enough. I don't need to see any more. I know if I get the 400, I'm gonna want just another zero.
And I still want the 400, but I also understand
But
what's happening to me.
right.
I exist in a system. I understand that. I understand the roots of what's happening. I start to understand what's going on in the world. I understand that nature made everyone to be like this. And we're this thing that we're trying. Who am I? Who's Greta? She's going to go up against nature? She's going to save the universe for real? You
I
you
don't think
you, you
anyone thinks
thought
that,
through every
anyways.
possibility of
But
every
she thinks that.
planet over
Maybe she
over
doesn't.
billions of years, or we talked about Klaus Schwab last week and his whatever it's called.
Yeah.
You know, you thought through every variable for all the planets and all the galaxies and
No,
how
they did.
everything.
They didn't think, but
It,
they're nothing stopping them. It's like, yeah, but that's just how it is. That's just what I need to do. I just got to do it. Yeah, okay, I see where it's going. But I just got to do it. I have no other. I got to.
I'm
You
not
don't
sure what you're
feel.
saying.
You don't feel that. You don't feel that. That's where
I
it's
don't I
coming
don't know
from.
what you're saying.
Well, they're saying let's get. I'm a billionaire. I need to have another zero in the bank. Is that gonna make me happier? No, maybe probably not. They're saying this. I mean, these are smart people. They're also probably introspective a little bit. At least some of them. Is that extra zero gonna really make me happier? Probably not. And yes, it is going to fill some deficiency because I want that extra zero. But is it going to make me happier? Probably not. But I don't really have a choice. I kind of just got to do it. I get the desire, so I kind of either got to either change, make it to where I don't receive such desires, or fulfill the desire, and that's it. So where's the speeding up time that you're suggesting?
Not relating my we all know people, for example, who make their entire identity around getting that car, getting that sex change,
Yeah.
getting that promotion, something that they're going to achieve in this world, and then everything is going to be okay. But we also know that it never happens. The emptiness never goes away. So on the one hand, do whatever you need to do in this world. We're going to do it because we're also existing on the animal degree, and we have to understand that nature is propelling all this. Additionally, we're developing something called our soul, which is eternal. That's what we want to talk about. All of this show, all of these things that we talk about in this world are just like a clothing on top of what we really want to talk about. We can't, there's no way for us to talk about something that has no time and no space. So we're
Even when
always
you
just
say
trying to
that,
look at the opposite in order to, as it says in the wisdom of Kabbalah, as light excelleth from darkness. We're trying to use all of these examples. Like we said, the wisdom of Kabbalah doesn't talk about this world at all. But we're always trying to use an example from something in this world to kind of point to its opposite
yeah.
in order to try and to come into some kind of focus on what we're talking about. How can we talk about something eternal when we have no way to relate to anything eternal? But if we can imagine that such a reality exists, if we can imagine that such a possibility exists for us, and if we can just begin to feel that whatever we want, whether it's a sex change or a car or a promotion or anything in this world, fine, do it. That's called our animal existence, our bodily protein existence. But the hole in our heart, that hole in our heart that doesn't matter what color skin we have, doesn't matter what gender we have, doesn't matter what country we're born in, that hole in our heart won't go away because that hole in our heart is leading us somewhere. That hole in our heart is leading us towards something whole, something eternal. That's what I'm hoping we can convey, Chris.
Well, you
I'm not
know what
sure
time.
how we're doing, but that's what I'm hoping
I
we can
I
convey.
I think we're doing the best we can. First of all, you can't hate on that. But you know what's interesting? We're approaching we're approaching the holiday of Passover. And everyone's read the Torah, but it's just interesting to take it because everyone somehow is at least familiar with the stories, right? So it doesn't matter. We're not talking about spirituality. We're not talking about anything, right? Let's just talk about the story, and then we'll overlap it with spirituality. The story, right, is that there's this group. They find themselves in a state, and this is how Kabbalah defines it, right? They find themselves in a state called Egypt. Let's say before they were in Egypt, but they didn't know they're in Egypt, so you can't say they're in Egypt. So the whole story,
slow down.
the whole story, if we're going to apply it to our situation, and about what you just said, how can we just realize that it's all futile? Let's say that that's kind of the sentence we want to figure out. The way you figure out that it's all futile, the way that you figure out that you're in Egypt, meaning that, wait a second, this is futile. Right, that recognition of, hey, this is futile. Wait a second.
I want my home to be comfortable. I want that new car. Like, it's not futile that I want to have a comfortable life. That's not the part that's futile.
What to the
what's
point in the heart
about it?
To the heart. You said you had a hole in your heart.
Yeah, what's futile is the thinking that any of those things are going to fill the hole in my heart.
Right. And if you don't feel a hole in your heart, you're not hearing anything that we're saying right now, and that's fine. If there's not time, it's not time. Yeah,
if there's no hole in your heart, right? Then we don't have anything to say to you. We're speaking to the people who discovered that they have a hole in their heart that can't be filled by anything in this world.
Yeah, yeah. So the realization that you've got a hole in your heart, first of all, and that the way that you've been trying to fill it is futile. That's called Egypt. And so you could say that the world is kind of in this state right now. Possibly, it's not. You can't say one. You can't say 0 or 1, right? You can't say it's one or the other. But you can say that we're finding ourselves in this, residing in under the rule of this force called Pharaoh, right? This thing that only wants to receive for itself. That's the force that governs all of us within. It's like very sneaky. It's very conniving. It's very hidden until you want to escape. And the only reason you want to escape is because you see that's futile. So all these things start coming together. I don't want to really talk about the story so much, but it's interesting that the whole world is now, where this kind of was like an individual, personal story a person would go through. It's kind of more of a global story now, where the entire world is starting to discover the situation of their ruler, of Pharaoh, the ego that is ruling them. It's bringing them to destruction, and they need to get out. They need to release themselves from the grip of this force that's making them, basically forcing them to stuff those pleasures into that empty heart, and knowing that it's not going to do anything. There's the force that won't let you let go of that. So the holiday of Passover is this. Is the story of what a person goes through when they finally, and how to exit this place called Egypt. So it's interesting that we're talking about this topic now, but we're basically talking about this global change, this global movement, this global awakening. You could say it's awakening, but people really aren't talking about it this way. But it's close, because you see where we are, we feel where we are. It's tense. No one's happy, like you said. Why are we even just killing ourselves if life is so? We're in a very interesting place, where we're just kind of looking around and seeing that there's nothing here.
Yeah, right. As long as when there was laws against, for example, homosexuality, so which was illegal here in the West. I know it's still illegal in some places. So you strive, a person who is who is that strives to be able to like be that. Then once the law goes away, you can do it. It's not a problem. Everyone accepts you, right? Or I have a desire that I want to, or you're not allowed to say these words. You're not allowed to say those words in the house. Today, you hear parents saying the F word to their kid, like in the grocery store, and not even in a bad way, just like, oh, F in this, right? So all of the things that used to suppress our inner expression are kind of going away. And everything becomes available, and we're allowed to now express ourselves.
Everything.
We're allowed to be right. We're allowed to express whatever desires we have. We're allowed to be who we feel we want to be.
You're allowed to fulfill any desires you want also, yeah.
Right. And then now everyone can be whoever they want to be freely. Everyone can be accepted. And it turns out it's not enough. It turns out even, because before, when the laws prevented you from expressing, so it felt like if we can just change the laws, then I'll be fine. Then I'll be accepted. Then I'll be okay. But now the laws change
Yeah.
and you can be accepted. But
And now what?
we're still empty. So the point is now we can all be creatures in the jungle together. You're a peacock and you're an ostrich. Before, we didn't want the ostriches to come out. Before we only liked zebras and rhinos, but the ostriches, we kept them down, and the chimps, we kept them down. Now everyone, whatever creature you are, let everyone in the jungle go free. But now, if there's no harmony between them all, if we don't see the operation between all of the different creatures, if we don't understand what what's driving all of this, so we're going to end up killing ourselves, everybody.
I think that people also accepted that already. They kind of accepted that's kind of that's the way it's going to go. Because they don't feel, it's not that you know the answer. We could say in our words, there's a world that you can exist in that's above these bodies. You can say all those words that you want to say. You know what I'm saying? That you don't have to. It's just whether or not a person feels that there's some, even just a grain of truth there. That's really all you need to put your foot on the path and start walking. Now the question is, does knowing that actually even do anything? The fact that we had a podcast today, and we still have some time. The fact that we had a podcast today, we talked about it. Maybe people heard it. Maybe they agreed a little bit. Maybe they didn't agree. Maybe they felt actually, that point, that Pharaoh that's trying to keep all the, the real pleasure away from them. They see that it's futile. But then what? Now I think time. Now, if there's a then what, one second. If there's a then what, that means that we have to plug something. Let me find it.
Oh, God, we forgot. I forgot.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, that's why I stopped you.
Oh, geez, we should have brought this up earlier.
We should have, and I didn't think about it, and Asaf was
yeah, he told us we should say it at the beginning, the middle, and the end, and we forgot.
Right.
Imagine if you're walking down the street and you're feeling upset or you're feeling depressed, and all of a sudden you realize that you have in your pocket a gem. You put on some pants this morning that you hadn't worn in 15 years or something. It turns out that there's a gem in your pocket that's worth $50 million. So you're walking down the street feeling depressed. You're halfway to the coffee shop.
Yeah.
And halfway there you realize this. How does your feeling change? How does if someone wants to cut in front of you at the crosswalk, or if a car comes speeding around, do you care? If a car honks at you and gives you the finger, do you care? If someone calls and says, oh, where were you last night? You missed that meeting. Do you care? Once you realize what treasure you have, does everything else comes into perspective in a totally different way?
You're saying, do you care? But actually, it's like, yeah, I do care, but in a different way. Not the same way.
Everything is going to be okay.
Yeah. Why? Because if there's an ultimate thought, an ultimate plan behind each and everything that's happening before your eyes, even though you don't understand it, even if you don't understand the thought, you don't understand what the plan is, you don't see where it's going. But if you feel that there is one, at least that, that's already enough to can we say calm you down? Fine, it calms you. It does calm you down. For beginners, it does calm you, and that's just a fact of it, because a person needs to feel that it's working, otherwise they can't continue. So there is this little thing at the beginning where you feel like, yes, it is calming you down, but then you have to move on to more advanced stages of arranging these things within yourself, which is why we want to invite you, all of you who are listening to this now live or listening to this possibly on the recording that will appear after the live show has ended. You can attend what we are calling what are we calling it exactly? Oh man, Experience Kabbalah. Why would you want to experience Kabbalah? Because if you feel like it is futile, if you feel like it's futile, that's not a fun feeling. Unless you have, on the other hand, it's futile, but here is the remedy. So, futile by itself, very depressive, very sad. I would rather die. Why am I even living? Futile with the solution, excellent. How can I realize it? I've got a lot of strength to realize this, to somehow exercise this. And that's called experiencing Kabbalah, and we're inviting you to such an event. So it looks like it's going to be a half-day virtual event, as we've mentioned before. This is on the 12th of March. This Sunday. This Sunday.
Yeah,
so very
it's
important.
free or pay as you wish. It's open to everybody. It's a 4-hour event. We'll have several instructors there. We'll have music. We'll have experiential. We'll have lessons. We'll have the opportunity to interact with each other and to taste what the wisdom of Kabbalah is all about. The link Chris posted in the YouTube chat
and Facebook for those who are on
and
Facebook
chat. Oh,
Yeah.
well, you're on top of your game. Okay.
Well, we missed a couple of times, but we at least we plugged it in the end.
Okay. and
Very
if there's any
important, though. Very important.
Yeah.
What?
If there's any questions about this event, I know we have like 2 minutes left here, but if there's a question, if someone wants to post in the chat about the event, and this is open to everyone. This is open to friends who are already in the Kabbalah environment. This is open to, if you're here for the first time, or if you're curious, you can drop in, you can leave, come check it out. If you like it, stay. You can join from your phone. But see what's going on here. If something in what you're hearing today, or what you're hearing on this show, or what you're hearing on our channel resonates with you, check it out. It's a super unique group of people following a very unique method with a very, very big goal. And we're very fortunate to found this. So we hope to see you there.
Yeah. Nothing really to add to that. Did we do what we came out here to do today? Did we get there? How do you feel about the show today?
Well, it was a little bit off balance without our third wheel here, without Asaf here. But I hope that people feel that there is this life, this corporeal material life, and we live in it like normal people, but there's something eternal, and it's available to us, and everything begins to make sense. Peace, knowledge, bliss, eternality is our goal, and it's something actual that we can reach, and hopefully we'll get better at communicating that. So
we did our best, at least today we did. No reason not to try next week, so I guess we will. And
we'll see you Thursday,
See
2
you
p.m.
then.
Eastern.
Great. Thanks for joining us. Catch you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Open our hearts, together we will find, and we'll see how love will cover all the ground. Beyond the border, there's a song that plays, and in our hands we have a choice that waits. Together rising high above these lies, and see the world through your eyes. see another vision of what